A very warm welcome, viewers, to the latest edition of Forces First, and I am Rakshita Mishra with you. We bring you the big revelation made by the Indian Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal AP Singh. Huge embarrassment for Pakistan, of course, as in his first ever speech, he has put it on record, viewers, about how India downed 5 Pakistani fighter jets, 1 military aircraft of Pakistan. It's the biggest record also as far as the strike, the surface-to-air strike that has been registered by India. We will also tell you all the details of how Air Chief Marshal had in fact silenced not just the enemies but also those who were the naysayers in the country. India-US arms deal, viewers, we will also throw light on that. Given the tariff war, does it get affected or not? Why is Rajnath Singh not going to Washington DC? Is he going to Washington DC? Has it been postponed? Why has it been postponed? Also, why Asim Munir is once again visiting Washington DC. We'll tell you about that and the big arms deal approved by the Ministry of Defense, and of course the army operations, the rescue operations led by the army. Of course, we will get you all the latest on that. But first, the big story before we start the show. Big embarrassment for Pakistan, viewers. Stunning revelation has been made on Operation Sindoor. The air operations have been, in fact, detailed by none other than the Air Marshal, the Air Chief Marshal AP Singh. He has confirmed for the very first time how deep strikes were conducted by India, the precision strikes, how the S-400 defense system was the game changer, that the Indian Air Force shot down 5 Pakistani fighter jets and a Pakistani surveillance aircraft from the distance of 300 kilometers. Yes, viewers, this was the largest ever air kill. This was the largest ever surface-to-air kill ever credited to the Indian Air Force's history. Did not stop there, viewers. On India's hit list was also the F-16 jets, which were parked at Jaish-e-Mohammed and another one at Bahela. They were all destroyed on ground. IAF Chief has said that all these targets were identified and hit through satellite images. This official disclosure lays bare the massive blow dealt to Pakistan's air power during the heightened tensions after the Pahalgam terror attack.
We were able to get there at least 2 command and control centers, Chaklala, that I have shown you one of the pictures, at least 6 radars, some of them big, some of them small, 2 SAGW system, that is in Lahore and Okara, then of course runway at Sargodha and Rahimia Khan, 3 hangars that we attacked. One was of course Sukur, the UAV hangar, the Bholari hangar of AEW&C, and Jacobabad, the F-16 hangar, and we have indication of at least 1 AW&C in that AWC hangar, and a few F-16s which were under maintenance there. Apart from these, the SAGW systems, mostly from, I'm talking about fighter aircraft are from S-400. We have at least 5 fighters confirmed kills and 1 large aircraft, which could be either an Elint aircraft or an AW&C aircraft, which was taken on at a distance of about 300 kilometers. This is the actually largest ever recorded surface-to-air kill that we can talk about. So it was a nicely planned out effort, and the date was decided. It was the 6th and 7th night, date and time, and it was decided based on weather, based on what pattern we were seeing across the border of their movements and their actions. And we decided that time, and we decided that it will be in one go we will address all 9 targets. And like I said, Air Force was targeting these to the border, so it was not that we could do something with small drones or weapons of small caliber. They were all nicely hardened structures. So we decided to go with long-range weapons to keep ourselves safe from their air defenses, but at the same time, accurate weapons to get the targets while not causing any any other damage to the areas around. And special emphasis throughout has been that there should be minimum civilian casualties who are not involved with this.
Well, we have Air Commodore Ashinder Bahela joining us on the broadcast. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on Republic TV. And, I'll come to the other strike, which is much talked about as far as the silencing the naysayers and the credit mongers. But about the largest strike that has been conducted by the Indian Air Force, largest ever recorded surface-to-air kill that has been conducted. The AWACS have been destroyed. This is not something that is that's something that usually happens. It usually speaks volumes about Indian Air Force's capabilities. So help our viewers understand the significance of this.
Rachita, thank you for calling me, first of all. And secondly, the great thing that you have just said, we have created a record in the world by hitting an airborne early warning and control system aircraft.
Yes, sir.
From 300 aircraft, which has a radar on it, and it can look deep inside the enemy territory, which means it's a force multiplier. And we shoot down one of this, we have hurt Pakistan by one aircraft, $100 million. And in addition to that, significant reduction in its capability to carry out surveillance inside our air. It's not that we were not having an offensive capability. We had significant offensive capability in that we struck at those target systems which were in Punjab, where we had never struck earlier. It hurt the soul of Pakistan when we hit at Muridke and when we hit at Bahawalpur. It was precise attack, minimum collateral damage, no military or civilian target was hit or destroyed, and yet we were able to come out with great effectiveness, including the Jaish-e-Mohammed Sarangna, that is the leader saying that, hello, can you hear me?
Right. Yes, sir. I request you to please just fix the frame and the network, and meanwhile we'll just show our viewers what other statements have been made by the Air Chief Marshal. Sir. We'll just come back to you. So another big statement that was made by Air Chief Marshal was how he revealed that the forces were in fact given a free hand, and they were given a full freedom to do and carry out the air operations, clear directions, no restrictions. He credited NSA Doval for playing a pivotal role in synchronizing every arm of the operation, and also, of course, he highlighted the role of the Chief of Defence Staff as well. In fact, he said it was a dream come true the way this entire operation was conducted, and there was complete synchronization among all the three forces. Listen in.
I want to talk about something like, if I can say, what were the reasons for success? One, which I can think of, is that there was political will. I'm being very, very candid here, very open here, because I hear various versions of it. I think if I tell you something, people will have to believe, because I was there listening to everybody, attending every meeting. There was very clear political will, very clear directions which were given to us, and there were no kind of restrictions which were put on it. Many people have spoken somewhere. Unfortunately, everybody is speaking about it. Ki kuch na kuch main bol dunga is bare mein. So there have been talks about, was there any restriction? Were you kept constrained? If there were any constraints, they were self-made. We, the forces, decided what will be our rules of engagement. We, the forces, decided what will be the escalation ladder that we want to ride on. We decided how we want to control the escalation. So I want to make it very clear, there were no, I repeat, no restrictions on us. Full freedom was given to us to plan and execute.
There we heard the Air Chief Marshal on, the full freedom that was given. Commodore, Bahel, if you could just shed some light on how important this is to, in fact, give full freedom to the forces, which has been lamented by many others. I've been speaking to some other, retired officers, and they've lamented the fact that, full freedom has not always been enjoyed by the forces in the history of this country, sir. And when people like the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha say that the hands of the forces were tied, it actually comes as a big strike back. Although it is not the IAF chief who, he has better things to do, of course, but it's important that he puts it on records that the armed forces are fully free and they are trusted by the leadership, and they do what they do.
Very nicely said. I'm remembered of the 1960 to 70s American war with Vietnam. And in that war, President Johnson used to check at even the target list. So much was political interference that it became very difficult for the war planners to execute correctly and strategically. With the result, the war lingered on for 10 to 11 years before in the Christmas bombings took place, and in January 1973 it came to an end. Karl von Clausewitz had said, political object is the goal and war is only a means of achieving it. If the political object is very clear, and if the armed forces are not chained, and if they are given full freedom, there is no restrictions placed, as was done this time, then the armed forces produce results which we produced this time. In 90 hours, we brought a country to its knees. In 90 hours, they went running to the US to say, kisi tarah se bhi ladai band karao. Then they came to us. And in 90 hours, their DGMO rang up and said, please stop the war. Nobody told us to stop. No one was intending us to put restraints on us that you can stop. We stopped because we felt our political objectives had been met. We stopped because we thought that now we have taught the terrorists such a great lesson that they'll think 10 times. We stopped because, just to give you an example, in Gaza, it's just a strip of 363 square kilometers. To give you comparison, our Delhi is 1,484 square kilometers. Now, it is not even 1/4 the size of Delhi, and yet Israeli Defense Forces, which are one of the most professional forces in the world, cannot put any control over Gaza till now for last 22 months, because it's easy to get into a war and it is easy to get sucked into the dynamics of war, but it is extremely difficult to get out of it. And it is the armed forces which felt that we have achieved the political object, and this is the time to stop.
Yes, sir. Air Commodore Bahel, thank you so much for joining us with your insights and your reading of the latest development that has come in, viewers. And finally, we'll also tell you another strike. We'll just show you, you have to hear this out, how the Indian Air Force Chief took on the Saboot gang. He spoke about Operation Sindoor, and he said that thankfully this time the ghost of Balakot has been laid to rest. There was difficulty in convincing very own people last time around, but this time we've made it very, very clear. Thankfully, we had the proof, and we showed that proof as well. Listen in.
In Balakot, we could not get anything from inside, and it became a big issue, trying to tell our own people, unfortunately our own people, as to what we have been able to achieve. We had intelligence of what has gone on inside. We had intelligence of, a human kind of intelligence, where we had very clear picture of inside in terms of there has been huge damage. There have been so many terrorists which have been neutralized. But we could not convince our own people that, look, we have achieved that. But this time again, a thing like this would have given us the same problem. But we were lucky, and we got these videos on the open. This is the same building from inside. You see the amount of damage that it has created, because all these penetration weapons, the sound is from that video. So they cause this kind of damage. Whereas from outside, you get a feeling as if it's just a small hole. So I'm very happy that this time we were able to, take care of that ghost of Balakot, that we were able to tell the world what we have achieved.
All right, viewers, now we shift our focus to what's been happening all this week. Days after Donald Trump stunned India with the steep tariff hikes on a range of exports, Western media reports claimed that India had quietly hit pause on a big India-US arms deal. The news of the alleged freeze has been dismissed by the Ministry of Defense, calling it false and fabricated, insisting that the procurement talks that were on, they continue as per procedure. No formal order has been issued to halt or delay any acquisitions. So now, the question still arises that this could be impacting the India-US defense partnership. Viewers, $131 million India-US arms deal is in focus. It's an opportunity for India to enhance its maritime awareness capabilities in Indo-Pacific. America views this as a step towards deeper defense cooperation with India. Now, for New Delhi, the strategy is not just Atmanirbharta in defense, but diversification to procurement partners also. So this can be an opportunity if at all the defense ties are deterred. Now, not only the important part is that Russia is a traditional supplier, but also it has deals that in diversification of procurement, it has struck deals with France and Israel. And in the last decade, the US, France, Israel, United Kingdom, they've all emerged as significant suppliers, viewers. With France, the Rafale deal cemented Paris's position as a trusted partner, and talks for additional fighters and submarine collaborations are also going on. Israel offers UAVs to India, precision-guided munitions and missile defense systems, while India and the UK are looking at cooperative programs on jet engines and maritime security. By deploying the multifold procurement, India continues to reduce the dependence on a single supplier, mitigate the chances of supply chain disruption, and also push for reliance, self-reliance, Atmanirbharta in defense manufacturing. So while the reports have been quashed, there is, of course, a lot of talk about how defense ties, because trade is being affected, the defense ties are also going to be affected here, especially how you see that there is this dilemma between the aircraft offered by US, the F-35 deal, which reports again had emerged that India has rejected that. Nothing on record, of course, about that. All right, viewers, now we shift our focus to, and let's take it forward from here. Trump rolled out his latest round of reciprocal tariffs against world's biggest emerging economies. That's been hogging the limelight. It's been dominating the limelight to weaken the BRICS countries, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. There has been attempts to fracture its unity and force each member of the BRICS to bargain with Washington on Trump's terms. But it seems like Trump's master plan now to separate the BRICS has backfired. Instead, Trump has just triggered a chain reaction that is just drawing China, India, Russia closer together than they have been ever before in the recent years. Now, the proof of it is how Brazilian President Lula da Silva spoke to Prime Minister Modi on phone. He said, I don't want to talk to Trump. I will talk to Modi. I will talk to China or Russia. Leaders have vowed to strengthen strategic ties. The proof again comes in when Russian President Putin dials Prime Minister Modi amid Trump's tariff threats. He's set to visit India later this month after he met NSA Doval in Moscow. Proof number 3, another significant diplomatic signal. Prime Minister Modi is set to travel to China soon, his very first since the deadly Galwan clashes. Of course, there have been tensions, border tensions, that unlikely to be disappearing overnight. We've also seen the case of China offering aid to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, and India has talked tough on that. But for the moment, we understand that there is rearrangement or strategic realignment. For more on this, we have our guest live from Russia. He is joining us from Russia, and Dr. Sergei Dvoryanov is joining us right now for this story. And he's president of IDC Amicability. So thanks so much for joining us once again on Public TV. There's been this talk about strategic realignment, and when it comes to diplomacy, international politics, there are no permanent friends or foes. So, there have been some differences, of course. Russia, China have been close. Russia and India have been close. But when it comes to China and India, there have been, of course, a lot of cracks. But when we see China, out of everybody, China talking about sovereignty, an expansionist state talking about sovereignty of India, supporting India, Prime Minister Modi going for the SCO summit, you feel that Trump's move has only backfired and the BRICS is coming together brick by brick?
Thank you so much. Namaste, namaskar. Thank you for your question. Thank you for that you're having me in this show. First of all, I want to tell that we are currently experiencing one of the most dramatic moments in our history. The new world has not yet arrived, not yet appearance, but the old one has already been destroyed, and especially because of the policy of the Western leaders. We must learn to cooperate on the level, not only economical, but on the ethics level, and on the level of responsibility for the future generations on this planet. That's why we can see that right now, during these changing times, very dramatic time, a lot of turbulence, a lot of disturbance, and especially when Donald Trump appearance on the political stage, everybody was highly appreciated and excited that he transformed his enmity to Russia. He transformed his enmity for the dialogue. But right now, unfortunately, we can see that he cannot really approach and achieve this level of understanding what can be and should be the future of our civilization. I can tell that, unfortunately, today the ideology of most of the countries based on the image of the enemy. We should understand that we should realize that only one enemy we have, that is the ignorance. And modern politician, he cannot be ignorant, and he cannot spray this type of ignorance. Like, for example, like Donald Trump, he cannot be so crude, so disresponsible when he push any country to do something, and that is not a level of humanity. For my opinion, cooperation between Russia, China, and India as well was already approved. You can see that last year in global summit of BRICS in Kazan, it was very, very open heart conversation between India and China, and Russia was mediator.
Yes.
Russia was mediator, and it was a global message which came from this platform of BRICS. And right now we can see, of course, Donald Trump, he lose a lot of power because new world is completely changed. Before it was Western part of the world dominant and gives the rules how we will live. Right now, Eastern part become more in power, and for my opinion, we should definitely put a reference of the ethics of cooperation and understanding and spiritual education for this union. If it based on spiritual education, definitely will change the world for the better.
Dr. Dvoinov, thanks so much for joining us with your insights on that story, your reading of the story. Viewers, we should quickly focus to, of course, how what's been happening between Pakistan and United States. Very important to understand, viewers, from here. India's precision strikes had targeted the heart of the terror dens of Pakistan. And now, viewers, in less than 2 months, we understand that Asim Munir could be in Washington, D.C. Yes, you heard that right, viewers. We'll just show you, we'll tell you the significance of that once again. We've seen how Asim Munir was hosted by Trump in Washington, D.C. for a lunch. Pakistan's newly minted Field Marshal Asim Munir, or Field Marshal, is heading back to Washington now this week. Second visit in just 2 months, following a private lunch with Trump at the White House. Now we know that that meeting was a signal of shifting priorities. Trump had praised Munir for averting a potential war with India, a claim New Delhi has vehemently denied, of course, and set it on record, insisting its decisions are its own. But the story doesn't end there. It was alongside security talks. Trump unveiled a trade agreement with Islamabad recently. It had claimed that it has some oil reserves there. U.S. companies will be taking over or buying Pakistani oil. And now Munir's trip comes at a time when when embers of a conflict still smolder across South Asia, just months after India's retaliatory strikes against Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba bases in Pakistan. Munir's presence in Washington to attend the farewell of US Central Command Chief General Michael Kurilla is more than a military courtesy, viewers. It's a sign of America's continued engagement despite Pakistan's complex history with terrorism and perhaps of a counterbalance to India's assertive foreign policy. Now, viewers, let's help you understand what is the significance of this, viewers. Now, this we've seen Trump trying to seek credit for brokering India-Pakistan ceasefire, and of course, he always wants a deal, so he wants a Nobel Prize in return of that. Then he also hosts Munir for a private lunch, as we told you, after Operation Sindoor. Next, what's been happening between the two countries, US and Pakistan? Next, praising Munir for not going to war with India. He's praising Asim Munir as he's a dove, that is, Pakistan have done nothing. Then he unveils a trade agreement with Pakistan exporting that exports terrorism. You know, he is ready to engage with the terror state of Pakistan. Then he grants US companies access to some oil reserves that he claims to have found in Pakistan. Balochistan says there are our reserves, not Pakistan's. US Central Command Chief now has hailed Pakistan as a bilateral partner, and now they're inviting him also. He is re-invited Munir to Washington within 2 months since the lunch, viewers. So this is what's been happening, and that of course raises many questions as to what's been happening and how India remains on alert, how US is trying to create its presence and proximity to Pakistan and use it as a leverage against the giants like India and China. Viewers, we shift our focus quickly to the army-led operations in Uttarakhand. Viewers, the cloudburst in Uttarkashi led to massive flash floods. Raging waters tore through the homes, roads and fields, causing massive destruction in Tharali, Uttarkashi. Roads were ripped apart, villages cut off, and hundreds were stranded. Rescue operations are in full swing, with the Indian Army leading the multi-agency rescue operations along with the NDRF, the SDRF and the ITBP teams. Army continues to provide unwavering support to the people of Uttarakhand through sustained humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations in Tharali as well as in Marshal, where an army camp has also been hit. Army promptly activated secured communication networks, including satellite and radio relay systems, in Marshal to support the ongoing rescue operations. Even specialized canine team have been deployed to assist in search tasks in coordination with ground-penetrating radar, Zeva radar and reconnaissance radars. In the skies, a total of 68 sorties have been conducted so far in a day as of Saturday, with forces ferrying food, medicines, hoping to cut off, connect back the cut-off villages. And viewers, that's of course the visuals that we have got for you. In Uttarakhand's darkest hour, the armed forces stand as a lifeline fighting the floods, braving the odds, carrying the nation's hopes on their shoulders.